everyone, today Stuart and I are back in London again to film his Q2 market update. Enjoy!
Hi everyone, market sentiment for quarter still positive from our side. Job numbers remain at a relatively high level, especially compared to our sort of global numbers over the years. If I went through the regions, I could sort of break them down in a little bit more detail for you. I'll start with Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific still positive, although lots happening in the region. We're seeing lots of people leave Hong Kong, relocate either back to Europe or even to countries like Singapore. China coming out of their lockdown has obviously buoyed a little bit of the recruitment market there, and we're hoping we're going to see that continue. We are also seeing, though, a lot of organisations relocate their HQ from either Hong Kong, China to Singapore. So the region is moving, it's sort of evolving. I think we'll continue to see that throughout the rest of sort of Q3 and Q4. If I then sort of move that across to sort of EMEA, EMEA has been still very positive and still really busy. However, there is a little bit of trepidation in the market. I'm going to say recession, maybe I'll call it the R word going forward, but people are mentioning the R word a lot more. Interest rates obviously are going upwards. Inflation is obviously sky high at the moment. So trepidation is probably the right word. The one thing that I would say though is that in most markets that we're working on across Europe, labour shortages still exist. So whether we're going to be in a sort of recruitment bubble or not, I'm not quite sure. But what I can say to you is there is a little bit of nervousness. We have seen a few roles put on hold. However, from our side, things are still positive. Switch that across to sort of the North America. North America is in a very similar position to Europe. Interest rates going up, inflation obviously going up. However, our job numbers for the US still remain at record levels there for us. So again, are we in a sort of a little recruitment bubble? Maybe. Will we see some of that sort of, I suppose, seep through to the market later on? Potentially. But again, right now, still high demand roles are talent acquisition in the US. And then lastly, Latin America. When I talk about that, I'm talking specifically around Brazil. When we speak about Brazil, Brazil is still really busy for us. Again, there are external pressures that are existing from the market. There are elections coming up that we're a little bit nervous about. My team in Brazil always laugh that there's a World Cup, and the World Cup has such an impact in Brazil in terms of people stopping work for sort of a 3 to 4 week period. So there are things that are coming up that might well impact the market there, but very similar to the rest of the world, we are still exceptionally busy down there, but with a little bit of nervousness in the background. So trending roles for Q2, I would say if you looked at APAC and EMEA, the most in-demand positions that we've seen are actually in graduate recruitment. So I suppose rewind that a little bit further, and we were seeing more broadly talent acquisition. I think we can narrow that down now to specifically graduate recruitment. I think a lot of people moved out of that space during the downturn, and it's very, very difficult now to get people to go back to it. The other thing I would say with Asia Pacific that we've seen in terms of graduate recruitment, there are a lot of expatriates in that space in Asia. And now expats are not moving to Hong Kong or Singapore as much or as frequently as they used to. So that's definitely something that we've seen. Graduate recruitment, I'd say there's also a shortage in EMEA. Graduate recruitment and graduate development are definitely places that we'd like to, we definitely need more candidates in that space. Flick that across to the US. There's definitely been a slight slowdown in terms of sort of talent acquisition. However, if you said to me and my team, what do we need over there? We still need TA experts and recruiters. That's still the busiest area for us. And I think it will remain so over the next sort of 3 months. You might see that change slightly in terms of the broader market, but right now for the US, talent acquisition. So it's always a good time to reflect in terms of the market, what's happening, what's going on. The trends that we're seeing, though, they're very similar to what we've seen sort of for Q1 and the back end of sort of Q4 in 2021. DEI is still a significant discussion point whenever I go to see any clients. I'd then add wellness and well-being into that as well. I think that there's been a sort of continuation of care from clients. after the COVID pandemic, and people are definitely looking into how they can better support their employees going forward. And then on the back of that, hybrid working is still a huge discussion. I know a lot of clients now are trying to get to sort of a real fixed days that people are in. So is it now going to be 3 days? Is it going to be 4 days? That discussion is going to continue. And you might well find that it will change depending on sort of the economic state as well. You might find that as it gets tighter, people expect you in the office more often. So that we haven't heard the end of hybrid working. It's going to be there for a while. And then the last thing that I always hear, and I continue to hear from CHROs, data-driven decisions. It's something that everybody is talking about. That is not going to go away for the next 6 months. So I will be prepared for me to sort of say that again in 6 months' time when I'm doing this. Data-driven decisions will continue to lead the way for people. So I'm really happy about Series 3 of HR Insights, the podcast. It was something that I was probably a little nervous in terms of taking the baton on, but the conversations that we've had have been really impressive. I think I surprised myself with what I've sort of learned and taken away from it as well. It's been it's been a really interesting sort of 12 weeks or so that we were running Series 3. And I'm really now looking forward to our guests for Season 4. I've got questions already lined up in terms of sort of what we're planning. So yeah, looking forward already to next season. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or you'd like to get in touch, feel free to email me at se@elliottScotthr.com, or you've got my phone number. It's on our website. I look forward to hearing from you.